bridging documents, the assumption is that there's still some design to be completed, okay, before you go into construction. So, in Francisco, you've been a part of this a couple times around now, but we want to be cognizant of, if you're a design build project, even if you've been given documents, there's a design development portion probably that's going to precede going into construction. Okay, and I saw in the schedule how you phased it. You had 3 packages going to permit, right? And that shows a good understanding of, hey, we want to get in the ground early, I guess, while we finish up the design for the rest of the building. I think that's what that was trying to communicate. But I only inferred that because I saw that you had broken up the permit packages. So if you're doing a design build project, understand that you should address design development probably somewhere in the schedule. Okay, it's got a home. Alan, when we were talking about the field leadership, you started with, hey, the superintendent's going to get us up out of the ground, and then these 2 other superintendents will come aboard and help with, you know, this section of floors and this section of floors. But I think that one of the things that you want to establish is there's one superintendent that has overall responsibility for the leadership of the field. That's your lead superintendent. He may have a side job that he's going to look after a few floors over here or something like that, but he's the field leader, and his first job is oversight of all the other superintendents. Okay, we then transitioned into estimate, and we're not picking on Francisco here, but it kind of came to my mind. Try and get rid of these useless words. Okay, obviously, you know, things like that. You just try and knock it out of there. If anything, just take a pause. Okay, because usually we use those words to think for a second before we speak, and that's a good thing to do, but just take a quick pause. Don't throw out there the useless words. I like the cast in place concrete drives the schedule. Anybody who knows anything about these big projects knows that that's the case, so that's a good thing to hit, I think. And also, you know, you're saying, hey, we're self-performing the structural concrete, and we can control it, and that way we can drive the schedule. That's all it's a good tie. That's a good way to look at these projects. Safety, we blew over it in my mind with no real concrete measures, okay? Like we're going to install safety guardrail on all the slab edges as a way to mitigate our fall exposures, okay? Like I would like to see good concrete safety measures, just like we had good concrete QC measures this go around, okay? So please take that aboard. Talking about culture is good, but that's only worth about a sentence, okay? And then you go into some of the specific measures. Incentive program, we're going to offer $750 a month as prizes to workers who identify safety hazards, something like that. That's good, hard, meaty things you can do. I like the use of the top bar across the top of the slides as you transition from subject to subject. I would keep that. Cliff, with the schedule, good introduction. You got up there, you're upbeat. Hey, you know, we're excited here for this project kind of thing. I would keep that. I would encourage you to do that. Hey, you announce yourself. We're here. We're happy to be here. We're going to do this, you know. The completion date on the slide was wrong. You had it as 2013 when it should have been 2015. Okay, so just attention to detail, okay? I talked about, hey, include design development for a design build project that's got a home, okay? So you got into the critical path and repetitive nature of the concrete, and I heard it now a few times. It almost became too much, okay? I think Francisco mentioned it, and then Cliff mentioned it, and mentioned it again. So you can overuse it, so that's just a little bit of a presentation technique. You know, once you've said it, you know, a time or two, then you can drop it and move along. We talked about the concrete sequence, Cliff. I would have that down, okay, and you know, I would think about it in succinct steps. Okay, let's go through a sample. Okay, just real quick here, excuse me. Okay, and just, you know, just that simple. Okay, here's a deck. Okay, that we just poured. Okay, and it's got, okay, actually I'm gonna start with the dowels. So you've got, okay, here's a concrete deck that we've just poured, right? So it's concrete on the underside, concrete on the top, just like the structure that you're gonna do here. Okay, there's dowels poking up, right? Do you understand that? Okay. So now you can start the sequence kind of wherever you want, but let's start where we've just placed this concrete here and we've finished it. Okay? The very next thing that's gonna happen is what? What's the very next operation that's gonna happen on this deck? Francisco? We're going to place column cages. We're going to place these rebar cages. Okay? Pre-made rebar cages, okay, are going to get dropped in over the dowels. Okay? So you can see these downtown when you look at the construction projects, right? You see these, they kind of weigh, you know, and they kind of hang there until they get braced up. Okay? So do you follow me here with concrete cages sitting on top of the dowels? Okay. All right. What's next?
You drop your cage. I guess
right. Okay. You're going to put forms on the cages. Okay. All right. There's your form work. All right. You probably have some braces. Okay. What's the next thing that's going to happen?
For the column?
You pour concrete into them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And these cages probably, depending on what your sequence might be, here's some dowels sticking on the top. Okay. Pour the concrete into them. Okay. Let's see. This gets filled up with concrete. Mm-hmm. Okay. What's next?
Form the deck.
Right. Okay. You fly in. You pour these you remove the, right? You're gonna remove your forms. You gotta remove your forms. Okay. Once you write this down, just so you got the sequence, or we'll go back through it. Okay, but like walk away with this. You fly your forms in. So here's a form. Right? And then here.
How do you connect your columns to your deck panels, Kevin?
Pardon me?
How do you connect your deck panels for your deck to your columns?
It abuts.
Okay.
It abuts, and then you use builder's foam or something like that, just to fill in the cracks so the fine. I mean, inevitably it leaks a little bit, but you know it's not watertight. The framing abuts the column, and then you fill it up with foam or something.
So they don't use like capitals. I guess that would be from.
You could. These columns could have capitals on them. Yeah, there's. I'm just talking like basics here. Okay. Okay, so you flew the forms up, right? You've got reshores underneath, because you're about to impose a load on this deck that's still curing. So you're gonna place a reshore, a piece of shoring underneath this. Forms in place, right? What's the next thing you do?
Install rebar.
Okay. So, yeah. And how many mats of rebar is there? If I'm looking at the deck, see, here's a cross section of a deck that's been poured. You've got a bottom mat, right? Rebar going in and out of the page, and rebar going a long way. You got me?
And actually, it was for this. I think it was post tension.
Post tension?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very well. So this would be mild steel, but okay. In any case, we'll simplify it right down to we're going to place the reinforcing. Okay. You place the reinforcing. What else do you place before you pour? embeds, what else? Sleeves. Because if you have a riser or something that's going through, you're going to place a sleeve to get it through the deck. All right, so reinforcing, you're going to place your sleeves, then you place the concrete, right? Place it. Here, I'm going to use blue for the concrete. Here's our dowels. Poke up. Or I'm sorry, dowels poke into the deck there. Replace our concrete. Okay. These dowels are within the depth of the concrete deck. Okay. Place your concrete. Okay. Here's these dowels. I forgot to show you. Okay. You place your concrete, and then you start the sequence all over again. You fly the cages, set the cages on top, set the forms, place the concrete in the forms, and so on. Okay?
When you're starting, you clear for slab on grade, you first do your columns, right, Kevin? Would you do your columns first on your slab on grade and then pour your slab on grade?
You could do it either way.
Either way, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of truly depends on
the nature of
the nature. Yeah.
Understood.
So let's run through that. What was the first thing that we did here? What was the first step? Where did I start?
Well, install the rebar cages.
Yeah. Column, cage. What was next?
Form, columns.
Okay. What's next?
Install the dowels at the top of the column, or pour concrete, concrete at columns.
Okay. What's next?
Place rebar. No, I'm sorry. Strip forms, and then place forms at the deck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's strip column form, form deck.
Install reinforcement at slab.
Okay.
Install embeds.
Yeah, install rebar and sleeves and embeds. Okay. Okay.
And then place concrete at slab.
And then for terminology purposes, would you consider that an elevated deck or just
Yes.
an elevated deck?
Yeah,
Right?
this is a typical elevated deck
not a
sequence.
slab anymore, right? Slabs. Would you still consider it as? I guess we
Elevated
did.
slab thickness, deck.
Elevated
I don't
deck.
know. You look it up. I'm probably wrong somewhere in there, but I think we get it. We're in elevated condition here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So there, and then it just starts all over again. Okay. So let's talk about time frame. For example. Okay. I'm going to go. Josh, are you still with us?
Yep.
Okay. Is this? Do you have somewhere to go? Do you need to? Are you good?
Yeah, I actually do have to run here, Kevin.
Okay. Okay. You want to say any closing comments before we let you go?
No, I think it all looked good. As far as the presentation goes, I would like to see something done with the text inside of the slides instead of just the plain white, really wordy sentences. If you're going to do bullet points, make them sure bullet points. Other than that, the presentation was good. I think you already hit on what not to do. And then as far as the actual binder itself, I'll be emailing all of my comments to the team so that they can go over it one by one. I don't want to take up too much time here with that.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
I think you're
Good. Thanks, Josh. Okay, so let's just talk about duration real quick. We've got a meeting at 8:30, right? So I'm going to try and jam through this. Okay,